Patch 14.21 is now out, and even though we are getting a skin, we are also getting nerfed. Wait, isn't that supposed to be the opposite? Like when you get a skin, you get buffed or dodge a nerf? What the hell? But anyways, like before, we'll go over the changes, talk about the builds, and the ADC tier list. Alright, let's get started. So first off, the Kaisa nerf. The passive is getting hit this patch, with the initial damage going down from 523 plus 15% AP to 424 plus 12% AP. Then the per sec damage is going from 112 plus 2.5 AP to 16 plus 2% AP. And finally, the maximum flat damage is going down from 971 plus 25% AP to 848 plus 24% AP. I know this sounds really complicated, but overall, this is a general nerf on the champ, with AD, Hybrid, and AP Kaisa all getting nerfed and losing DPS. Now Hybrid is getting hit the hardest since both the base numbers and the AP ratios is going down, compared to only the base numbers for AD Kaisa. Now if you're wondering why this nerf is even happening, it's mainly because of the meta and the popularity of CC supports. Yes, it's not Kaisa herself that is a problem, but her synergy with supports like Nautilus, Leona, and so on that can apply stacks and allow you to proc passive way faster. So anyways, in terms of DPS loss at 3 items, here are the numbers. For Hybrid Kaisa, you're losing between 3 to 4% DPS. For AD, it's 1.5 to 2% DPS, and for AP Kaisa, it's around a loss of 3%. And remember, if you play with a support like Leona for example, the DPS loss is a bit higher. So yeah, it's annoying because it's less damage, but overall, it's not the end of the world. It could have been way worse, and Kaisa will still be viable in 14.21. So don't worry, your favorite champion is not dead. Last thing important to mention is that the nerf itself won't impact your early game. It will only have an impact in the mid game. Next up, the Blade of the Ring King is getting destroyed, with HP passive going down from 10% for melee and 6% for range to 8% for melee and 5% for range. If you liked playing Collector and Bork on Kaisa, well, this is pretty bad news. TLDR, this is around a 6% DPS loss, which is no joke. And even if Kaisa doesn't abuse this item, she still needs it when you face a bunch of tanks. So basically, this means that Kaisa is now weaker into a heavy tank composition. Build-wise, this patch doesn't change much for Kaisa, since both AD and AP was nerfed. The only possible change is that AD on hit is now equal in power compared to Hybrid, even slightly better in some situations, but it's really not that much. So for Kaisa builds, in 14.21, it's the same thing as 13.20. For Hybrid Kaisa, the best build remains static or Kraken Slayer when you're fed, and when I mean fed in lane, it's around 2 to 3 kills, then you build Ridgeblade into Nasher, plus Deathcap and Zhonya, or if you face tanks, you can go for Liandry's Force into Deathcap. For AD on hit is static or Kraken Slayer when you're fed into Ridgeblade, plus Terminus into Squishies, or Navari or PD into Fighters / Bruisers, which give you kiting power, and finally into 2 or 3 tanks you can go for Bork into LDR. For all of these builds, by the way, your 4th item can be or Bloodthirster or LDR, except when you build Terminus. Or you can even go for Jackshaw in some situation if you need defensive stats. And for your last item, it's mostly or Zhonya's or GA. Before we go over AP, let's quickly talk about Collector. This was a new trend on Kaisa in 14.20, and after testing it for 2 weeks, although it for sure works on paper, it's a really cheesy build that needs you to be super aggressive in lane, since most of your damage comes from your Q and your burst, and compared to Kraken Slayer, you lack DPS. To be totally fair, this has always been an issue with Lethality Kaisa, even all the way back with Duskblade. But even back then, if you wanted to make Duskblade Kaisa work, you would need to not only be super aggressive in lane by taking aggressive trades, but snowball the game as much as possible before you fall off. Since most Kaisa players, from my experience, are not that comfortable being so aggressive, the build never performed that well. And that is still the case with Collector today. So again, this build works fine on paper. You can go for Collector into Ridgeblade into Nasher, or any other variation of Collector Rush, but I really recommend to only go for this if you're comfortable being aggressive on Kaisa. Finally, AP Kaisa, once again, not much has changed. For the runes, you can run a classic fleet page with Palm or Life into poke matchups with Haste plus Cut Down with Cookies and Boots, or Cookies and Cosmic Insight when you run Essence Fever. As for the builds, you have 2 options. The first one is with Essence Fever, with ER plus Longsword for Q evolution, plus 2 tomes and 1 rod for W evolution, then you finish your Horizon Focus and then Shadow Flame. And you can sell your Longsword at level 14 and D-Blade at level 17. And again, remember to run Cosmic Insight for this or you won't have enough space. This is the best build for bot lane AP Kaisa, since it gives you the fastest Q evolution and the fastest W evolution, which is perfect for bot lane since you can end up fighting a lot. For mid lane and top lane Kaisa, If you play into a sleepy lane, like for example Mother or Ornn, where nothing happens for 15 minutes, you can go for the classic AP Kaisa build, with Mana plus Students plus Horizon Focus for the cheap option, or Shadow Flame when you're fed, or Vosa versus tanks. And for all, you run Sorcery Boots. Okay, finally let's look at the Kaisa ADC tier list for 14.21. This was the one for 14.20, and this is the one for 14.21. As you can see, a couple things have changed. First off, Xayah, Sivir, and Nila got buffed, but the Xayah buff is a scary one, since her W, her strongest ability, is getting buffed, and she's a natural counter to Kaisa, so be careful next patch. The rest of the changes are mainly due to Kaisa being nerfed and being weaker next patch, so most matchups will become a bit harder, like Jinx for example. And there we go, this should cover everything you need to know for 14.21, and with that said, enjoy the gameplay and subscribe. Oh wow. Nice. I know. What? Alright, massive. Ah, oh, right. I had a kill. Alright, I hit the kill. Alright, that's fine. But even that is a little bit difficult. Because like, Hybrid gives you so much comfort with the W. We shouldn't be fighting without me and Yi. That's cute. I think it's just that matchup will be a bit. Some matchup will be a bit harder. Like Xayah will be harder, Ashe will be harder, Jhin will be harder. Like all the matchups that are already difficult for Kaisa will be a bit harder next patch. That's it. I don't have TP, so... Well, I need to TP for this. Alright, there you go. Small words. Oh wow, oh. I missed. Okay, I missed that totally. The goddamn. The goddamn chicken. Here's the Baron. Oh god. Way too greedy. Oh, Quadra! No! No! Oh, come on! I should have waited for a bit more damage. Alright, well, GG. Clean game. So close. Penta. Alright, finally a win.